That's just C major. That's as basic as it gets. As a bass player, I'll take that every single day of the week and twice on Sundays. But what happens when we want to add a little bit of flavor to that sound? That was also a version of C major, but I started integrating minor pentatonics over the major tonality. That's what we're looking at today. I'm going to give you 3 examples of minor pentatonics that work over a single major chord. The most important thing to remember about this video is that if you know what a minor pentatonic is, you don't need any new shapes to completely change the way you approach playing grooves over a major tonality. The harmony I played in the opening clip was just a C major triad with the 9 in the voicing. And I was just playing diatonically within the scale of C major. You don't need anything but C major to get through that harmony, to make that sound completely inside and to be a bass player. But what I did in the second example was introduce 3 different minor pentatonic scales and lean on different sounds contained within the basic framework of a major chord. The first one I'm going to give you, really easy to find. It's if you're playing in C major, you go up to the major third, so that's E natural, and you play a minor pentatonic. You play E minor pentatonic. But the tonality, the harmony is C. So if I put our chord back in here, obviously our root is C, but we go up to the major third. I use that a bunch in the second example. If we bring back the groove here, keep that harmony really simple and really exploit that E minor. And what I'm doing there, what I want to encourage you to do is play what you already know in terms of how you play C. If you see C major or hear C major, it's C major in the song. Play something that you already know. Play something simple that outlines the fundamentals of the harmony. But then have in your mind, be prepared at the end of the phrase, have that E minor pentatonic ready to go and explore what you can do just at the end of the phrase. You don't have to base your entire line around it. And the more you stick to the fundamentals of the harmony, kind of the classic sound of a C major chord, the more effective the fill will be. When you add these flavors, the 3 pentatonics I'm going to give you today, the more effective they'll be, the less you use them. So I'm really going to encourage you to stick in one key. Let's just stay in C major for today's video. Don't try and branch out all over the place right away. And I want to encourage you to play really simple. That could be just roots, fifths, like that. If we even with the groove. That is a little bit stiffer because I limited myself to just the root, the fifth, and the octave. But you felt when that E minor came out, we went somewhere totally different. We went somewhere, to my ear, melodic, a little bit more uplifting, and adding a flavor, adding a little bit of tension, even though we didn't step outside the harmony. It does create a little bit of tension, and then we can resolve that tension back into our outlining of the fundamental harmony. So that's E minor. That's a minor pentatonic based off the major third of the key you're playing in. I want to save the most interesting one for last, so we'll go to A minor, a minor pentatonic based off the natural 6th degree of the scale. Here we are in C major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We get up to A, and we build our A minor pentatonic, exactly the same shape as we just had on E, but building it off A. And so far with these first 2 pentatonic scales, all of these notes are contained diatonically in the C major scale. You can relate them all back to, we're just playing them in this combination, E minor, and now moving to our next one of A minor. But they are all in the scale of C major. So we want to go back, outline our chord, outline our C major, and find a fill, find something that works, that's melodic, that's grooving, that's in time, that serves the music, but go to A minor this time. I'm going to put our chord back in, get our groove back. And you know what? As I'm playing it, I think this is a great place to start. I hadn't planned this, but this is a really good place to start. Just play the scale. Don't even think about, oh, I've got to make an interesting shape, or oh, I need to be melodic or play a solo. Just play the scale. Play the scale in time and in sequence. Now, I want you to resolve it back to the root, back to C at the top, but essentially all I did was start on the A. I played it in total sequence and then resolved to the line. Listen out for that as I play it now. I'm starting off with a C. A minor. Again, when you treat it like an exercise, when you are restrictive with your practice, and when you say, I'm just going to do this to dial this idea in, it can start to sound like you're in a bit of a box. But the whole idea of all of these three minor pentatonic examples is to get out of the original box of C. So rest assured, although it might feel a little boxy in the process while you figure it out and get the ear to go where you need it to go, this is opening up basically this opening up harmony for you in a huge way. So in the moment, a little bit boxy. Long term, a ton of freedom when it comes to creating bass lines and finding new things in something that you have probably played a ton before and are probably very comfortable playing in a major tonality. Here we are to burst that open and to add a ton of flavor to it. So that was A minor. Now we get to the kind of really flavorful one. A quick technical note here, and I'm sure I'll get comments on this from the harmony nerds out there. There is technically another minor pentatonic scale, diatonic to the key of C, to the C major scale, and that's D. To my ear, it's perhaps the least melodic when you treat it the same way I'm taking these other three, playing it in sequence. But I just want to point out that there is a fourth minor pentatonic. We just happen to be covering only three today, and you feel free to go and work on the D minor pentatonic. To me, it's a little less melodic in terms of what it does for your bass lines. So to get to the big payoff here, the one that has, to me, the most flavor is a half step down from the root. It's a minor pentatonic based off the 7th degree of the scale. So C major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's B natural. So we're actually going to play a B minor pentatonic over C. Now it does change things slightly. This is no longer completely diatonic because of the introduction of the F sharp. This note right here. But it doesn't change the quality of the chord in terms of it being major. We still sit firmly in a major tonality. So I think it's important to include this sound as we talk about this. If I have a C in the root and then I adjust my chord in the synth to include that F sharp, I don't have to use the F sharp when I'm comping, but when I go to the B minor pentatonic, to me, this is where you get the most juice. You can see I'm starting to smile. This is my favorite one. So let's focus on B minor pentatonic over the C major tonality. And to highlight exactly what that does to the harmony, the introduction of the F sharp makes it Lydian. Now, the sharp 4 turns the regular major chord into a Lydian major chord. So we have, instead of just C major, we have C Lydian. So the diatonic scale is adjusted. If you wanted to play the scale, it would be C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, just a major scale with a raised fourth. And that's what we're going to draw upon to play our fills. And as a bonus after this, just to finish out the video, I'm going to give you a couple of chordal ideas based off of this minor pentatonic scale, B minor pentatonic scale, which despite being chords, more like double stops actually, they sound and feel great in the context of a band, in the context of being a foundation of an ensemble. So because we have this F sharp, this introduction of the Lydian sound through playing a B minor pentatonic over C major, we get some interesting places to go and comp with that sound and play more than one note at a time. I love playing double stops. I generally fret it with my second finger on the lowest string, on the E string, on my 4-string bass here, and my fourth finger goes on the 10th. And sometimes I hammer up to that to get this sound. You can play solo for hours like this with that one simple melodic device playing tenths. You could go for hours like this and not even need the synth or the groove or any of that stuff. And very quickly, if you dig any of the concepts you're seeing and hearing in this video, I go into much more detail in my book, The Bass Player's Guide to Pentatonics. It comes with play-alongs, standard notation, bass tab, videos. You can dive deeper into all of the concepts we've talked about in today's video, and it's linked in the description below. So I did promise you a little bonus idea with these chords, and to put that in the context of the harmony, I'm going to play the C major scale, C major 7 in fact, and I'm going to add that F sharp in there, which we got from our B minor pentatonic. But this time I'm going to use chords or double stops. I'm going to use tenths. And I can play all of those against that chord because they all contain notes from Lydian, and a combination now of the E minor pentatonic, the B minor pentatonic, and the A minor pentatonic. It's kind of bringing all three sounds together and putting them together in double stops. You may not even need to think about these double stops in terms of pentatonics, but since we spent all that time in this video finding those three sounds, I want to connect those two things together for you to highlight the fact that the introduction of that F sharp just gave us a whole other set of colors in the upper register of the instrument, but still never took away from the foundation of the bass. I'm forcing it over the harmony to make a point that all of those notes fit. If you're playing in an ensemble setting, hopefully the person who's playing the actual chordal instrument, the guitar or the piano perhaps, will hear where you're going and they'll actually be able to move with you. This is one of the powers we have as bass players, to add just one more note to our comping and start to signify a shift and a change in direction of the music that hopefully, if everyone else in the band worked on that same stuff and the ear training is at the same kind of level, we'll be able to go with you. It's an amazing feeling when that happens, when you just introduce one tiny detail that could seem on paper quite insignificant, but it changes the whole flavor of the music, pushes it in a slightly different direction, and then perhaps brings it back once you've created that tension. When you can do that together with other musicians, all of this work on these fundamentals, our E minor pentatonic our A minor pentatonic, and finally our B minor pentatonic. All in the context of C. The work on the fundamentals is what allows those kind of ideas to flow freely and to really affect change with those musicians around you, to have everyone have a much better day on the bandstand.